Hello and welcome again. This is a very, very special episode. As defined before, if it says a very special episode, it's a piece of equipment or something from my past, but it's not the original. If it's very, very, then it is the original. This I did a video on 13 years ago, and this is an update. This is an Olympic model SS203B console from 1966. It is a hybrid, everything's tube except the final amplifier, which is solid state. It's an odd combination. But many things with this thing. In 1987, we moved in with my grandfather for about 2 years until we had our second house built. And this was the very first piece of vintage electronics I've ever experienced, older than me. 1987, I mean, the console was only 21 years old. So not, by then people considered these junk, unfortunately. And I have quite a few stories involving this thing, but anyways, we'll get to that later. This, I discovered it, and I played with it continuously until about 1988, when the stylus completely failed on the record changer. The left speaker completely lost its treble, the tweeters. I found out why in 2012 when I got it. Wasn't even connected right. The wire simply fell off the connection inside. Easy fix. So that is when I got my first stereo, a 1988 Sound Design model 6821BE. I should do an update video on this. But yeah, this isn't the original, so it would be a very special episode. In addition, I found from the same year, 1988, a matching Sound Design CD player. This does have auxiliary inputs. It's a perfect match. Just real quick, it does have a very nice and bright VFD and everything works on it. It's made in Japan. And observe the two speakers. There is some relevance to me showing you this in a second. So, that was my first stereo. Now to show you, here's a picture from 1988. Actually, I'm sorry, this picture's from June of 89. You can see in the background there that Sound Design speaker. At one point, when I got my Sound Design stereo, it was originally placed on top of this console. That is exactly what's going on in this picture here. That's Tony. And one thing you'll notice is I just changed the speaker grill cloth for this video. But yeah, there's a picture of the console back in 1989. And to make this an even more very, very special episode, that is me in 1982 with my grandmother. Sadly, she passed away in 1985. But there's the console in 1982. I can't wait till someday I get older photographs from around that house and this is in the background, like from when it was brand new. That'd be really cool. You see, it's really special when it was in the family originally or whatever, rather than just being randomly picked up at a thrift store. This is very special to me. And if you're wondering, my grandfather just turned 97 last week. He's doing just fine. He's physically active. He mows grass at the cemetery to keep him busy. And that's all I could say. We go out to eat every Friday. So We talked about this, and when my grandmother bought it, she picked it out. She said she wanted it. Well, here it is, almost 60 years later, being enjoyed still. But before I finish up this little story on the origins of this, when we moved out in 1989, my grandfather got remarried in 1990, and unfortunately this console just became like a shelf for everything and anything to sit on. So I never got to see it in use again. And it was pretty much, I kept hearing things destined to be thrown out. Because it did develop problems, it needed some work. There is another part to this story. Yes, little dude. In my 7th grade year, in the same school district my dad went to, I had wood shop class, okay? His name was Mr. Bordeaux, same teacher my dad had. And I remember one day going in, I was like, I hearing a lot of like really nice bass and awesome sound. It turns out, placed way up high in the shop somehow, and he merely just unplugged it and plugged it in, was this console. You know, the exact model, not just the likeness, but the exact model. I mean, that thing sounded amazing. I mean, it was putting out the bass like you wouldn't believe. Unfortunately, it's playing country. And I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of country. Country music sounds like a fart smells. Sorry if I offended anyone with that, but I just don't like it. So with the short semester I was with this console, and also in the adjacent room where I actually took drafting class right before everything went to CAD. Yes, we had a drafting class and learned how to do it manually on paper. I remember we were in drafting class and heard the nice warm bass from this console just booming away in the shop room next door. But I didn't put too much thought into it because I never thought I'd get it back. I thought I was just destined for the landfill, you know. Then around the late 90s, when I really started getting into vintage electronics before getting into it, was like even like regular collectors would scoff at stuff from the 70s during that time. That's why I just don't follow groups or what everybody else has to like. I like what I want to like, regardless. I don't know, I just do things because I enjoy it, not to please everybody else. I just happen to like making videos about it and sharing it with others who enjoy this. Okay? So, yes, around the late 90s, after I got my grandfather's 1975 Sears console TV, which unfortunately I got rid of in 98. That's a different story altogether. But anyways, I spoke up. I said, no, don't throw it out. I want it. And I think that's what saved it. I did get to plug it in the year 2000. I think it was June or July 2000 when I was painting this house. I plugged it in, but it didn't work. I got no sound out of it whatsoever. And the pilot light came on up front, which I thought was burned out. And then another 12 years went by, and they finally did something in the dining room where this was located. It came up here, and the rest is history. So I guess that one part where I spoke up saved this thing, and I'm so glad. We'll open this guy up. I just kind of put some things in here for now. But Olympic. They didn't make anything high-end. Most of their stuff was middle of the road to bottom of the line, unfortunately. But don't dismiss that. Don't dismiss this console for that. And one more thing, this is a BSR record changer. I managed to get the repair manual on it, and it's dated from 1964. This is built much better than the BSRs everyone's accustomed to. So you got to give it that. But don't completely dismiss it. This thing, the amount of bass this thing puts out is nuts. Okay. And it does sound really good. And plus the fact, you know, sentimental value, heavily memories, and it's still here. So before we continue, And one more thing, Olympic is a division of Lear Siegler. In the original video, I pronounced it wrong. And of course, people have to tear into me for that. You know, I would have figured it out. I made a comment about this later in the video. But anyways, one more thing I'll comment on how I pronounce phono. I got into the habit growing up when I saw mono, phono. That's why I did that. I just got into the habit of saying phono all this time instead of saying a phono, phonograph. So when I serviced this 13 years ago, everything has been fully lubricated with phono lube. So that's good to go. And as you can see, being an older BSR, it's built much better than the newer ones with a lot of plastic. I mean, even the change mechanism, this is metal. But the problem I was experiencing was this rubber idler tire is still good, but I only cleaned it with rubber rejuve. It needs a little more than that. It slips a little when it goes on the change cycle. So we're going to fix that right now. If you may remember in previous videos, I used a piece of sandpaper and on a pair of needle-nose pliers or whatever to do it. Harley got me these sanding sticks here, 1000 grit. That's what we're going to use to clean this up right now. Now because it's going to push it into place without the turntable plier there, I have to hold it out like that, because otherwise it's up against there. And I just very gently, this is 1000 grit as you saw, very gently rub it up and down. There we go. Might be hard to see. I have to put a lot of pressure on it to keep it up against it. Alright, now let's clean this off. Oh yeah, it's actually spinning tires on itself now because it has so much grip. And I'll just clean this off. Now for now you get a side view of everything. Now unlike newer BSRs, everything is fully automatic on this one, including record size selection. So if I can... The problem I remember having last time, I think it was the idler tire slipping, and it was getting out of time, and it would think it was a 10-inch or 7-inch record. Now, manual, the motor's running, reject, record falls down. There, now it works. This is a junk record, so that's why it's a little noisy. Now I hit reject. It should sense there's no more records and it should shut off. Okay, that's working now. Let's test it with multiple records just to be sure. I just remember there was a problem with it. Yeah. Okay. All right, load it up. Let's see if this works correctly now. Okay, motor's running. Reject. Okay, only one record fell. Okay, and I hit reject. It should lift up, drop the record down, and 12-inch again. It's working. Hit reject, should sense there's no more records, and shut off. Perfect. It's working. I just want to test it real quick with some 45s, just to be certain. working now. Okay, we're good. Now I'm gonna see how accurate the speed is. It sounds like it's pretty dead on. So just ignore the cardboard tube. That was just to use it for this video. I really need to 3D print a platform for a phone when I do this. But anyways, the app is called RPM Pro. And currently on 33, it's about 1.6% too fast. Anything over 1% you can audibly hear, so that's no good right there. Also ignore the wow and flutter because some of it's probably from the phone sitting on it up top like that. So now we'll check out 45. I have the application set so it'll light up green when it's within 1%, but right now it's 1.2% too fast on 45. Not that bad, but you could probably start to hear it. And I also wanted to check what it was doing on 16 2/3 RPM. Not that I have any 16s to play on it, but... Alright, I'm going to hold this because it's going to engage. Turn the motor on. More 1000 grit. I already did the 33. I'm just going to gently do the 45 portion now. Not go overboard, but just do it just a little bit. I'm actually going to do them all because they're all a little fast, but just to clean it off. Now, I'm going to just get any dust off of it. Now I'm going to keep doing this until I get it within an acceptable range, at least under 1%. And so here are the results after sanding it. It wasn't actually my first attempt, it was my second attempt at sanding it to where I got it within tolerance. So 0.2%, that's much better than what it was. And if you're wondering, when we sanded the idler tire, idler wheel, would it have affected the speed then? No. It's such a much larger diameter than the spindle that it's negligible. But the little spindle is such a tiny diameter that any little shaving off can affect it like that. So even if we were to change different idler wheels on there, it wouldn't make any difference. So that was my attempt at 45. Let's see where we ended up at 33. 0.09%, 0.1%. So that's very good. Almost dead on. So definitely not noticeable now. And we'll take it down to 16 2/3. And it's green again. This one was about 0.5%, but it's kind of hard to do this, you know, what I'm doing here, you know, sanding it to get the right speed. So that's, I say it's pretty good. I was unable to do 78s because it caused the phone to fly off because it spins so fast. Hence why I need to build a 3D printed platform for when I do stuff like this. Now the next thing I went ahead and did, I wanted to adjust the stylus pressure. Now, as I mentioned, this is just a BSR automatic changer, but it's an older one. I actually have the service manual for it, and it's dated from 1964. But almost everything on it is metal, and it's definitely built a lot better than the later BSRs. But that said, it's just a ceramic cartridge. And it said the normal tracking force is anywhere between 5 or 10 grams. Anything over 6 is bad. It was tracking at 6.5. So what you got to do, that spring in the middle of your screen, you basically have to take a pair of needle nose pliers through the loop, pull it off, pull the spring up and over a little hook in there, like as you see, like the upper part's not even being used, but it's just, you adjust the spring that way. And I managed to get the right amount. I set it for 5 because, again, it is a ceramic cartridge, so it will be a little heavier tracking. But it's under 6 grams, so it should be safe. I don't plan on playing any of my good vinyl on this, but anything less than 6 grams won't tear it up. And here's a quick look after giving it a nice good cleanup. Still has the original speaker grill cloth on it, which is rather torn and tattered a little bit and dirty. I already tried cleaning it, so I actually want to go ahead and replace it. As you can see, it looks pretty bad right there. So we're going to replace it with some new speaker grill cloth. First time I've done something like this, so let's do it. Well, the day has come. I got my new speaker grill cloth in. It's the closest one I like that would seem fitting for this unit. Let's get the back cover off, which is about 6 feet long. This is my first time having it apart since 2012. I'm gonna, of course, dust in here, but this is how much dust happened after 13 years. But obviously not as bad as when I first got it. Check this clip out.
What's going on here? Look at it, it's like a freaking carpet. I can just peel it up. Look at that. I'm gonna do some heavy duty vacuuming, then take the air compressor to this thing. This is funny. I peeled up all the dust like carpeting and I put it in a pile. So I'll just vacuum up in here with the brush tool on the vacuum, then I'm going to take the air compressor to it.
This whole little board here by itself is just for the stereo multiplex. I have 2 vacuum tubes on it. Right, there's the board. Did all the work on. These are still in place. So this is the actual amplifier here. Push-pull transistors, and it has an unswitched plug right here. I'm not sure what model utilized that, but it's directly off of this power cord coming in. So it's a solid state amplifier, but everything else is tube. And here's the speaker setup. There's 3 2.5-inch tweeters. They're 16 ohms a piece, and they're hooked up in series of all things. I think I'm just going to do this. I'm going to just take that whole front panel off with the speakers attached. I can just unplug them. They're all on spade terminals. And then I'll disconnect the speakers from there. Oh, this was relatively simple to take out. Just 8 wood screws, and it comes out. So I was just doing some quick tests. I brought this old guy out, hooked to it. Yeah, it's nice and loud through this, the woofer. You put it to tweeters and they work, but it is very quiet. And just to be certain, I just hooked it through the single crossover cap it has. Just a single speaker, and yeah, it's still very quiet. So the speakers are working, but they're just so quiet compared to this. Removing all these acorn nuts. Got the speakers out. Interesting little spacers here for the tweeters. So take all those off. And there it is. After 60 years. But it's faded, it's torn, it's gonna get replaced. So after getting up and close with it, this is this really thick fiberboard. Well, anyways, I just spent the last 5-10 minutes pulling out all the staples from the original grill cloth. It's now in the trash. And this I'm going to try cleaning it a little bit because it's turning my hand black just touching it. That's just dirt, 60 years worth of dirt. This is the first time this probably seen the light of day like this. And here it is with the new speaker grill cloth installed. It's like a perfect match for this console. And what's on top, I used to protect it from feline activity. It's silicone matte. It doesn't react with the wood finish, so it can remain on top. And I bought pieces that drop down in front to prevent them from getting attacked when not in use. So here we go. Here's the replacement speakers. Quam nickels, made in USA. The exact part number as referenced in the SAMs. 25A07Z16 for 16 ohms. It's just funny that I was able to find the exact part number referenced in the SAMs. It's not what was in it originally. This is an Olympic part number, but this is a replacement speaker. Check this out. July 1985. So they're still old. They're just about 20 years newer than the console. And also it's wrapped in that really good plastic from back then. So here are all the original speakers. They have continuity, the right resistance. I did not measure impedance with it. While they do work, the volume coming from it is very, very minuscule. Like you can barely hear them. So there is indeed something wrong with all of them that developed over time, I guess. So here's the difference between the original and what I'm putting in there. This one has a much bigger magnet on it. And I saved a piece of the grill cloth as a memento, what used to be in it. And just a comparison, the original speaker and the replacement on the right. And there it is, installed and wired. It's a really odd configuration. It's just 3 in series. With a 2.2 microfarad electrolytic cap bipolar in line with it. Now before I get going all excited and stuff about this, I put a cheater cord on it. I'm going to test it out. I want to make sure this fixed the problem. 99% confident that is the problem. And that is a yes. With no antenna on, I can clearly hear the difference. So yes, there's definitely a noticeable improvement in the treble. Sounds much better now. So I'm gonna now show you in the back. Then we're gonna vacuum it out and dust it and put the back cover back on it. So once more, here's a look inside the new tweeters installed. Original woofers, 12-inch. All the pilot lamps are original and they work fine. Tube layout. Component layout. And being from the 60s, this is not particle board, it's actual plywood. Though some of the panels do have fiber board where it doesn't really matter, like right here. There's the amplifier that's solid state. You'd think it would be the opposite, where everything else would have been like transistorized and this would be tubed. It's a odd combination here. A little jack panel we'll go over later. There's some of the work I did originally on this. And that whole little board down there is just for FM stereo multiplex. And of course the right channel with the new speaker setup. Alright, so we'll take a real quick look. These are all the same pretty much. Nothing is written on it for some reason, but the back side does. But this side does. Yeah, there's a tag there, a tag on the tuner and preamp, and there's a tag on the FM stereo board as well. Back in 1987 or 88, I could have sworn that pilot lamp right there burned out, but it still works fine now, so I don't know what that was about. I just remember it quit working, and all of a sudden it works, and I didn't change it. And here's everything after vacuuming and doing a quick wipe down on some things. It was pretty clean, but it was just 13 years since I had it open again. I mainly just wiped this chassis down so it's nice and shiny again. So there is a loop stick antenna for AM, but out the back, and you'll see it has a long wire and it says connect AM antenna to that. So yeah, you can hook an external AM antenna to it. The built-in FM is just 2 strips of copper running down there, and one running, well, you can see it down to there. So it works good for a built-in FM antenna. I've had it hooked to the house FM antenna system as well. Here's the underneath of the record changer. And you can tell this was across different models, because look at the different lengths of wire they give you. One for the input and output jacks, and the length of wire for the little pilot lamp in front of the unit. But yeah, I still can't believe I found the exact part number speakers that should be replaced in it. Alright, I'm satisfied. I'm going to go ahead and get the back reinstalled on this thing. And that'll probably be the last time this thing will ever get recapped, because probably by the time these caps go bad, I'll be dead. I ain't getting rid of this thing ever. In a way, it's kind of a scary thought. My goal of restoring things right now is to get it operational and back to how it would have behaved from the factory. But knowing that unless something catastrophically fails, it's going to be the last time most things are going to be overhauled. And here's the back all assembled. FM antenna internal hooked up as shown there. So yes, Olympic is a division of Lear Siegler Inc. In the original video I pronounced it wrong. Instead of someone politely telling me, or me later figuring out, they had to be a complete ass about it. People, man, you know, I tell you what. Anyways, just showing you all little details. Connect AM external antenna here. This we're going to have to cover in this video because I did not do it in the original. Yes, it has tape recorder outputs, A and B, which is left and right, but no tape recorder inputs, line level inputs. This is very odd. External B means external right channel speaker, whereas the entire console becomes the A channel or left channel, and you put a remote B speaker across the room or whatever. That's what that is. Remote A and B is different, even more different. Remote A and B is like remote your other set of speakers you could put in another room or behind it or whatever. And auxiliary, it's mono. Has a mono auxiliary in because it's labeled as TV input. So, of course, back in 1966, you would not have a stereo TV, but you could hook it up to your HiFi console to get some high fidelity sound out of it. In fact, we're going to do that in this video. If not with the TV, I'll do with other items. Dual channel Olympic model SS203B. Radio record changer. Power rating 75 watts. Interlocked power cord. Now, since I know the history on this, what happened to this power cord? I did repair it in 2012 with proper, soldering it and heat shrinking it so I could keep it original. But back in the late 70s, my grandfather had Siberian Husky Noki, and let's just say she chewed up the power cord. That's how that happened in the late 70s. This was just a quick setup, and I was not expecting this, okay, but now I understand, and if I studied the schematic, I could have saw this, but I have the console hooked up to the earphone out on this TV. This is a 1972 Zenith hybrid tube TV. Now, audio is coming out of this, but not the way you think. See, I have it in TV, but look, the volume's all the way down. And look at this. I shut it off. The way this works is it just takes whatever auxiliary source is and relies on its amplifier to power the speakers. I was not expecting it to operate like this, but now I do. But back then, though, the stuff, especially during this time, would have had like tube, and a TV would have been a tube audio output. It could easily drive these speakers, no problem. There you go, I figured out what the auxiliary in does. Now, that mystery's been solved. We got to figure out now. We know what external B is supposed to do. I'm going to hook a second speaker to it and listen. And we'll hook two speakers to it, and I'm going to solve the mystery of the AM phono and FM phono switch, which I think it just splits the signal between the two sources. Very unusual. Alright, now we're trying out the external B for the first time. And it's just that this console probably had a matching external speaker cabinet that would go with it. And you can hear how much bass it's putting out. I've done a video on this. These are those 1977 realistic Nova 6 speakers. And this becomes an external. You put your right channel across the room, and this whole thing becomes the left channel. Right now I got the balance control adjusted like this. Now, hang on. You hear how much of a difference Alnico magnet speakers make. So this is the left channel. Now let me adjust them so they're even. If the main speakers are off, the external speaker doesn't operate, only when this is on. And now I have it connected to the remote in the.
How about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
And it puts out plenty of bass even if it's flat. But it's like half the loudness of the console because, again, ceramic speaker magnets versus Alnico magnet. Now, reverse just swaps the left and right. That's all that does. See how much louder the main console is when I turn it on? But now, the main thing. The FM phono and AM phono, or phono, however you want me to say it. I always pronounce it phono. But it's not quite what I was expecting. The FM phono position, the entire console is in mono, playing the tuner, which is in FM mode. So I'm listening to a mono signal right now. Now, I can't do both at the same time due to the difference in volumes. Again, the console is going to be much more efficient, so it's going to be much more louder. But if I put the remote speakers on, so the left channel is the phono, whatever, but the right channel is the tuner. I'm not sure what the purpose of this would be, but now watch this. I'll flip the switch here into reverse. And I guess I could do the same for AM. Let me tune in a station. So this is AM out the left and the record off to the right. And I can flip it.
I have so many relatives, and you have such a small family, and that's very important.
Very odd function. I'm not certain what the functionality would be for this.
I thought all of you would be busy on your project.
We're trying to find out what little Virginia...
So after all this, I did my research on eBay of all things when I came across this, and this explains it all perfectly. Yes, it is very much a gimmick, but it does work. Now, in this scenario here, see, TV's built in, and the TV would have its own amplifier. Then you have the phonograph, and then you have the radio. Play all through your house. Play 1, 2, or 3 all at once, okay? Here's another one I found that illustrates it better. Now, this color TV, I believe, is a RCA CTC 16 clone. But look how it's being demonstrated here. You have your TV audio coming out the front of the console. Then in a remote room, you have one speaker working in mono for playing the phonograph. And then in the third room, you have another mono speaker playing the radio. So yes, very much a gimmick, but yeah, it'll work. Or you could just use the remote switch and use it for remote stereo speakers in another room. You know, it's many different combinations. So just pretend that that TV switch would be if the TV was built in, except now the TV is external. So that makes more sense now why it's like that. And one more picture, and this is also another Olympic. About, I don't know, 15 plus years ago, I had a dream about this console, the actual one, and I had in my dream it had a TV built in, but the TV was covered up by doors. Wouldn't it have been something that's really what it was? Like they bought this in the 60s, the TV may have quit working, or I can't tell if this is black and white or not, but they upgraded the color, so it just got delegated to the dining room where it was, and just used it as a stereo, and that would have been something. But you know, you see how similar it looks anyways. All right, on with the video. Okay, now that we're back, I'm going to go ahead and power this on. It has been powered on in about a month since I last did it. So volume about there. So here's the settings. It's on FM stereo, pull on treble, power on, and we just wait till the tubes warm up. Of course, I'm going to leave the volume down now because I don't need the copyright police. So, this was also my encounter with vacuum tubes for the first time back in 1987. When I saw it in 2000 and it said solid state amplifier, I kept thinking to myself, I could have sworn this thing had to warm up. Well, that's why. It's a weird hybrid. If it was just a year older, it would have been all tubes. And as you saw, we finally got it straightened out what all these different speaker configurations and dual AM, FM, phono settings are for. While a gimmick, yes, it can be functional and it will work. All the different modes, AM, FM, FM stereo, phono stereo. Next to it's phono monaural. Another thing I always pronounced wrong. AM and phono, FM and phono for doing the remote speakers in different rooms. And the volume, of course, is separated like that so you can adjust it on a per room basis. And it's ganged so you can turn it all at once after you adjust it. Bass with automatic frequency control when you push it in. Pull on treble and your tuning knob. And of course an FM stereo signal with an actual neon lamp in there. So for demonstration purposes, we have to keep it short because of copyright, but we'll just flip through the dial. FM, AM, just using the built-in antennas. So switching microphones to get more of the overall audio in the room.
The FAA has already been delaying flights at some airports because of staffing shortages among air traffic controllers.
How's this in Los
Controllers
Angeles?
are required to work without pay and been delaying flights at some
Elwood City, a forever media station. Available at the Home Depot.
Keep it going with Bob FM. Movements and helps relieve pulse.
Big 1047. You see us when we pay for one more. Exit Judas and his brothers. One presets on
Yep, so that's the whole FM scale. And real quick, we'll put on AM. Does have a really good AM tuner.
Speaking of what somebody else thinks, that's Seatown, New York. A federal judge has ordered improvements at a Chicago area immigration facility.
It seems to reject a lot of electrical noise. You can hear it trying to pick up a bunch of stations that are probably really far away. Like, what's this? And look how high I have the volume up. So who knows how far away that is.
Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Calling all grades 9 through 12 students. Are you ready to think big, act bold, invest smart?
I think this is KDK.
Challenge presented by Citizens Returns.
Yeah, it would have had to have been.
Helpline now. Northwell Hospital sent out a letter notifying find those who may have been subjected to hidden spy cameras in the facility's bathrooms. If you were a patient...
Actually did very well. Alright, now let's try it for something that won't hit the copyright police, like this. So for our demonstration of the record changer, this did not come with, this was not in the console, but I found this at the thrift store. I'm not sure of when, there's no date on it anywhere. But I'm assuming it'll be within at least a couple years of this console. Anyways, it's perfect. Hopefully there's no copyright issues happening. And I'm just trying to show the spin down time on this. play two albums. You see this early 60s, okay? I found this with the console when I was in kindergarten. I loved this album. I even took it to school and they played on the Newcomb record player, the same model I have. I need to revisit that thing. So there's Smokey the Bear. But this other one is the main one right here. Living Voices, The Little Drummer Boy. The last time I heard it was with, actually not with this console. The console, of course, was first because this is the original album that my grandmother bought. But in 1988 or 89, I want to say, that Sound Design stereo, I made a cassette of it and then eventually I erased it sometime in the 90s. So, yeah. In 2012, when I got this back, see, I didn't know what this album was called. When I got this album back in 2012 with the console, because all the records are still in it, I was ecstatic. And when I played it, I got severe goosebumps because I haven't heard this album since the early 90s, I think. And, you know, there's how things work like that. Well, we'll just do some quick samples because of the copyright police. I don't think Smokey the Bear is going to get hit, but we'll play a little bit of that. Oh yeah, that record changer's working perfectly now. The timing's right.
Boys and girls, lend me your ears. Our good friend Smokey Bear is here to speak to you about a very important subject. Folks, meet Smokey Bear!
Thank you, thank you. We're gathered here to discuss a big problem, I fear. The country's getting sloppy. It's something you should know. And we've got a duty to go to the people. We've got to tell them so. We've got a duty to go to the people. We've got to tell them so. It used to be that our country was pretty to see.
Switch records now. The bass on this one's really nice.
When the guys around the coffee and the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, this song always gave me goosebumps horribly even back then. And to finish up this video, we'll do some 45s, but not just any 45s. The original 45s that I played in 1987. All these 45s in there belong to my mom, and she didn't care about the records. So that's when my obsession came with this kind of music. And I kind of remember some of the original order I played it in. I had a specific order, but it's not exact. But I do know the definite very first 45 I ever played in my life was this exact 45 here, ABBA's Mamma Mia. Other songs included Saturday Night. Unfortunately, that red on there, yeah, I should go back and slap 5-year-old me for that. Frowned Upon, Grand Funk Railroad, an American band. I was amazed because this is like a yellow. I was amazed because this album was yellow. And this Beach Baby, I remember there's actually quite a few more records I played in a certain order, but just for the sake of time, that's what I found. That's what we're going to play very quick snippets of because of the copyright police. And the last record is going to shut this console off. So let's load them up. All right, we got Grand Funk Railroad on top, and it's yellow or gold Gloria. There we go. As you see, it's correctly sensing the size. bother me when the changer engages, it slightly slows the speed down. We're gonna hit power, but the console still plays. This part of the song, it always gives me goosebumps for some reason. All right, now we'll watch a proper record change without me interrupting it. And that's how it works. Everything works 100% on this thing. Console power has shut off. So that concludes this video on a very, very special console. Thanks for watching.